Hi everyone, Maury Mole here. So today we had Star Wars The Bad Batch episode 14 called War Mantle. And this episode marks the beginning of the end of Kamino as we know it. As I've said in my previous videos, Kamino has been destined to fall for some time. We know this because we saw in The Mandalorian the character of Dr. Pershing. He had a Kaminoan logo on his sleeves and he worked with clones. But he was a human, so this suggested that humans had taken over the operations on Kamino at some point, and moreover, it was the Empire that had done so. Now we are getting that story. So we start our episode with Nala Se escorting the cadets out of Kamino. As I've said on other platforms before, it's been Nala Se who has seen the writing on the wall regarding the Empire, while Lama Su has been caught up in this delusion that providing an ideal clone would garner them a contract. Well, Lama Su has finally gotten rid of his delusions, but more on that in a minute. So, as I was saying, Nala Se was the one who let Omega run away with the Bad Batch in the first episode, Aftermath. And remember, this was before she learned Lama Su would kill Omega after extracting her DNA. So that means Nala Se must have sensed that the Empire's ascendance and encroachment meant danger to Omega, and she was right. It's also why we see her in this episode escorting the cadets out of Kamino well before Lama Su approaches her to talk about the failure of the contracts. Had Lama Su not showed up at this moment in the episode, she would have joined the children off-planet. And I have to say, I think the most amazing part of this story so far is that Nala Se has suffered no punishment from Lama Su for keeping Omega away. Either Cad Bane never reported back to Lama Su after losing his quarry, or Cad Bane assumed Fennec's involvement was nothing more than a money grab, and he felt no need to tell Lama Su that detail, as bounty hunters often try to outwit one another, getting a desirable bounty. But at any rate, the entire point is moot, as the Empire has canceled all contracts as expected, and now Lama Su is forced to reckon with the outcome. As usual, Nala Se, in her typical pleasant and agreeing tones, offers what she knows to be useless suggestions to Lama Su, but it's a conversation that's meant mainly for the audience. So yes, Lama Su has finally figured out that the Empire will destroy their operations, as it cannot allow other buyers to make armies for themselves. Lama Su tells Nala Se to prepare to leave, something that we see she was already preparing to do, whether Lama Su had agreed to it or not. By the time the episode ends, Nala Se is caught evacuating medical personnel. So I'd like to remind everyone that she had been training Omega as a medical assistant when we first met Omega's character. Part of this could have just been Nala Se's simple desire to train her daughter figure in the same profession she was trained in. But now I wonder if it was also a way to ensure Omega could travel with her to other bases, whether they were still with the Republic, or in this case, evacuate as personnel, if and when things went down with the new Empire. At any rate, it didn't work, as she was intercepted by Rampart and his stormtroopers. And it's not stated, but I presume the cadets we saw at the start of the episode escaped, and I hope that this little plot thread is eventually returned to, as I think there is a bit of a story there. Of course, Lama Su finally met his fate. While it's possible he may be only arrested by the Empire to ensure obedience by Kaminoans, it is also just as equally likely that he is dead. At any rate, he has lost political power over Kamino. I suspect Nala Se will now be used to train Empire scientists for Palpatine's sake, just as the remaining clones have been used to train the new replacement troopers. And in the meantime, we have that as our main story for this episode. Gregor from the Clone Wars has returned, and after being deployed at the New Forest base, on a planet that is not well known. He deserts shortly thereafter, but is hunted down by space bloodhounds and arrested for desertion. Once again, the chips don't seem to be as effective at this point in controlling clones. Whether this is a natural phenomenon and the chips degrade on their own, maybe, or something Nalase may have engineered, as some fans have theorized, remains to be seen. Whichever is the case, Gregor is now in danger, and Rex, who is busy doing something very important and mysterious, requests the Bad Batch rescue him. Hunter is reluctant to help his fellow clone, but he is outvoted by Echo, who is also a Reg, and Omega. This is the most dialogue we've gotten from Echo, by the way. And Hunter is plainly that guy that calls everybody valid and right. I find it interesting that Hunter decided in the first episode that the crew had absolutely had to rescue Omega, being one of their own, but now is reluctant to go back for another clone. This could largely be due to Crosshair, of course, but it could speak once more to Hunter's strong instincts towards Omega, feeling that curious theory that Omega is their quote-unquote mother, but that's already another video. Hunter and the crew rescue Gregor successfully, and we get to see War Mantle in place as the troopers they stun are not clones and have brand new white armor. Unfortunately, while Gregor is rescued, Hunter is left behind. He demands the Bad Batch leave him so that the rest of the crew can escape, much to Omega's dismay. And at the end of the episode, we have Hunter in a cell facing Crosshair. It's a meeting that seems entirely ominous, but the facial expression of Crosshair is a very curious one. So what do you think will happen in the next episodes? Will Hunter and Crosshair join forces or fight? Will we meet Palpatine in the finale? Or should I say, will Nalase meet Palpatine? There must be a reason Rampart lets her live after all, and I think Palpatine's own experiments will be why. Let me know what you think in the comments. May the Force be with you.